welcome everyone to the Grand Dynamics Virtual Spotlight Series, your insider's guide to virtual meetings and events. This is the fifth in our series over the last 3 weeks, and we're very excited for today's event. Just to recap what we've gone through so far this week, or in the series so far, we've had a pretty amazing run and great virtual events. We started out with mastering the virtual world, effective and engaging meetings and events with your host here today, our producer, John Losi, who really went through all the different platforms on engaging virtual meetings and engagement strategies using technology and just principles for how to effectively deliver effective engaging virtual meetings and events. And again, just a side note, if you haven't registered for those, these are all going to be available, being recorded at the conclusion of the Spotlight series. So you can always go back and register for the ones you haven't if you're interested in those. We had our second of the series, which was magic and virtual events with Robert Strong out of San Francisco, our featured virtual entertainer, unbelievable magician, and not just a magician, but really kind of representing the access to all virtual entertainment, which we'll talk a little bit about today too, in creating our events for charity fundraisers and givebacks. Our next spotlight was on gaming and virtual experiences, from trivia to whodunits to scavenger hunts for homes, and great ways you can create virtual gaming events and experiences. Today we have our fundraisers and charity givebacks, which we'll get back into in just a second. And Thursday, the last in our series, which I'm very, very excited about, we have our adventure spotlight, which is going to be with co-hosted with Ken Lubin and myself. We have a great guest, Charlie Engel, who is going to be featuring some stories and strategies for life, sport, and business. So that's going to be an amazing one. Definitely tune in Thursday. Charlie ran across the Sahara Desert for 4,000 plus miles, 2 marathons a day for 110 days straight. But even more than that, we're going to tap into the strategies that we're all kind of looking at right now on how we're navigating the ever-changing world, and adventure strategies to help us do those. So today we have our very exciting fundraisers, charities, and give back events. We're going to be going to some breakout rooms, connecting. We're going to be having some fun experiences, and we're going to give you a bunch of strategies that you can use for engaging people to create new events, whether it's a fundraiser, charity event, or a team building event that's a give back focus. And we're going to dive into that in just one moment. But before we do, of course, we need to add our connection before content. So John, can you cue us up for our content or connection piece?
Yeah, love to. Can't think of anything I'd rather do today right now. So what we want to do in just a moment, not yet, we're going to send you off into breakout rooms. And in the breakout rooms, we just want you to really quickly answer a couple of questions. And what those questions are, we want you to say, just introduce yourself. Who are you? You don't have to get deep into your existential existence. Just, say who you are, what you like to be called. What brought you here today? What interests you about virtual? What interests you about events or nonprofits, whatever? And then the important piece is, what are you grateful for today? And just real quickly go around circle. We'll just only have a couple of minutes. So if you go first, make sure you go quick. We'll go with 3 minutes. So there'll be about 3 people per room. So give yourself about a minute, and I'm going to make the rooms even as we speak. So 2 to 3 people per room. Are you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Make sure I got us all set up here. All right. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
You meet some new people?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, we've got another 15 seconds before everybody will be forced, strong-armed back into the main room. As we're coming back in, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, while we're waiting, if everyone just wouldn't mind chatting, putting into the chat room, what brought you here today? Like, what's one thing you're interested in learning, or, just kind of give us a couple words or phrases about what attracted you to this particular virtual spotlight. Anything particular
So,
right in the chat room?
everybody's back now. So if you can go ahead and follow Tim's lead and put what brought you to this session today, and put that in the chat. While you're doing that, I want to remind you that throughout from now on, actually the whole time, if you look at that Mentimeter slide, that link that I put in there, you can always click ask a question. So as we go through all the different aspects of creating engaging fundraising and give back events, if you got a question about something that Tim says or Matt says, you can just go directly there. You don't have to try and remember the question. Put it in there anytime you want. And so I want to remind you that we can do that. And as people are putting in there in the chat, why are you here? What brought you to us today?
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really great to be talking with all sorts of people from corporate event planners wanting to create give back events to fundraising to charities, and we're very excited that you're all here today. So, John, anything else you want to share?
I think it's time to dive in, my friend.
Okay. Great, awesome. So, raise your hand if you're a planner out there. We'll dive right in here with our virtual charities and give back events. Again, thank you. The long list of different organizations that have registered for today, and all of you that have showed up, all different sorts of reasons and all different causes for making a positive impact and creating new opportunities for people through fundraising efforts and all the helping that you people are doing. So first, I just want to recognize and appreciate you all for all the work that you're doing. And it's our goal really to provide different resources and ideas and tools in ways that you can create new virtual experiences, new types of programs, and take those live events that you have been doing for many, many years. So raise your hand if you're out there that if you had a live event planned and it got canceled at some point. Yeah, lots of people out there. Yep. And raise the other hand if, when it got canceled, you really weren't sure what to do. Should we even keep the event? Should we cancel it? Man, that conversation has been something that I've been having for all of our corporate clients. Like, do we even do the events? Do we cancel it? Do we have a hybrid? No. Okay. Well, what ways can we create different engaging virtual programs? So what we thought would be fun would be to start out with a top 10 list and begin with just giving you some ideas and concepts around what are the top 10 ways that you can create some virtual fundraising, engaging virtual fundraising events. So we'd like to start with this, and here we go. Let's start off with number 11. Yeah, this list goes to 11. We figured we'd give you a bonus round. So really, number 11. Don't begin with how can we create the virtual event. First, start with what is it that you want to do with the experience, and begin with that. Really kind of go back to beginning with the end in mind, starting with what you want to do first, and then figure it out virtually. That way, you're going to be open to a lot more of new and different ideas when you begin to create your ideas. And along that same line, think about the emotional connection that you want to create, and then how we can transfer that emotional connection to the virtual world. People will forget what they say, but they will never forget how they felt. Number 10. We all have volunteers and lots of different employees, whether employees or volunteers. We want to figure out a way to get them involved. So before, during, after the event, you can help them create the event, fun brainstorming. You can use your volunteers in technical training to use them for breakout rooms. Figure out lots of different ways to get your volunteers on the marketing side or during the event side in creating different fun themes that they can go and run with during the actual event. Number 9, we have a producer. Now, this is one of the most important things that I began to learn when we started doing all our virtual events with Grand Dynamics is the importance of having a producer. John Losey here is producing our Spotlight series, and we produce lots of other events, and that's just one role that we do for lots of virtual events is produce these events for people. So there's 2 things when you think about a producer. One is number one, looking at the big picture in terms of what are all the different technical applications you're going to have. What are the platforms you're going to use? How are you going to integrate those? Are you going to be using live video? Are you going to use Zoom? Are you going to use other platforms? Are you going to create a virtual conference? There's a lot that goes into it, and a producer can help you to do that. And it's not just the technical side, but is really on the engagement side, right? So virtual events have all sorts of different ways to create engagement. So a producer will help you and allow you to do what you do best, which is creating the experience for people and being the front person for your cause. Number 8, we have build off the past and build momentum, which by that, we mean using your brand to stay connected with your customers and your audience. So you want to basically look at the events in the past, continue your brand, don't cancel the event, and create momentum going into that virtual event by using the messaging beforehand. And there's some additional ways that you can do that coming up in the other lists on this top 10. So let's go with number 7. Number 7, I want to pause for that. Just in the chat room, make it entertaining. If you could chat something that you've experienced virtually into the chat room, that has been entertaining. Have you experienced a virtual event that has had a DJ or a magician or a comedian or something fun? Put it right into the chat room if you would. Now, the entertaining part, everyone wants to have entertainment. How can we do it? If you didn't sign on to our second event, the virtual entertainment events, we featured Robert Strong, which was a comedy magician, amazing guy who not only performed, but also engaged people in how they can create their own magic tricks. We also have access to America's Got Talent. Imagine the best of all of America's Got Talent, from jugglers to trapeze artists to comedians to a whole wide variety of different entertainment options. So you want to think about how can you create the actual entertainment in the virtual events, and there are so many different ways to do that. So a little bit of research. Obviously, you can reach out to us and we can help you to line up just entertainment parts, but then more importantly, how can you connect to different parts of entertainment? So there's the content, kind of taking that in, watching a show, but then there's how do you create the involvement? So when you think about the involvement, there's lots of different ways that you can do that through gaming platforms, trivia challenges and competitions, the whodunit challenges that are themed around your event. So lots of different ways for making it entertaining. And don't forget your celebrity guests. People always want to tune in and see a celebrity guest as well. Okay, number 6. If you're going to be fundraising, let's not forget the part about the raising of the funds. So there's lots of different ways you can raise money, lots of different ways. You got tickets, you got sponsorships, you got vendors, you got matching funds. We have auctions and raffles generating prizes. But certainly you want to reach out to those sponsors and have giveaways and making those virtual events engaging by just giving away lots of different things by using that as a platform to raise money, right? Number 5, music. Of course, we want to have music. Now, have you thought about a magician or a musician who might be able to create a theme song for your particular event? We have our team of musicians that can actually create theme songs for your events. You also want to think about hiring a DJ or a specialty DJ. We have lots of those. You can find lots of DJs, and just creating some music so you can create some emotional context to what you're doing. Number 4, we have pre-recorded and pre-produced videos. Don't forget that you can actually pre-produce videos. You can use those for marketing, and you can use them for your actual experience in and of itself. So think about creatively creating. There's lots of great video editing that you can do, and also helps you have little segments during the actual event. Okay, number 3, make compelling to participate live. So this is all about the engagement standpoint from all the different ways. And if you haven't listened to our Mastering the Virtual World recording, we talk about all the different ways of creating engagements. So want to think about when you're creating an event, make it compelling. And then finally, number 2, have a worthy cause. I think you all have that covered. But just remember, people want to show up for your cause because of the feeling that they get behind the worthy cause. So think about the feeling first, and then align that with your virtual event. And then finally, number 1, we have send a box. What's in your box? What's in your box from your organization that you could send to people in advance? And then how can you create the experience and build on the experience so they open up that box before they have the virtual event? Lots of different ways. So if you were to put one thing into a box from your organization, what would the one thing be that you would want to include in your box? Put that into the chat room. And as I'm transitioning here to bring over our featured guests, put one thing, what's one item that you could put into a box that aligns with your company or a charity event that you could include if you were to send someone something for a virtual event? Go ahead and brainstorm, put that into the chat if you would. So that's our top 10 list. And now we are going to transition appropriately. One of the people who sends out virtual boxes for our events, for his events and our events, is Matt Campana. And I'm very proud to be introducing Matt Campana today. He's a social entrepreneur and a kick-ass event creator. We have known each other for years, actually about 20 years ago. Matt and I got together and we started when we were getting the Grand Dynamics really rolling, and he was the director of sales and was integral in growing the business through lots of our corporate events and retreats and executive team building programs. And we've been able to create a lot of really creative events together over the years, including our Ultimate Towner Overcoming Obstacles in Ohio and around the country, variety of different MPI events to just really fascinating corporate events. And I love Matt's enthusiasm, his passion, and more importantly, his attitude of gratitude and his give back. Now, he has a very, very amazing program. After he went back to Ohio with Grand Dynamics, we stayed connected, and he's created some amazing programs. One of these programs is the Hand of Gratitude, and we have been working together to spread the word and create these programs to make a positive impact. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Mr. Matt Campana. Let's give Matt a nice big round of applause and a wave. Say hi to Matt, everyone. All right. Take it away, Mr. Campana.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. Tim, thanks so much. Just a shout out back to Tim. Did work for Grand Dynamics in the formative years, and we just had such a great time and did such amazing programs. And I can honestly say I wouldn't have been able to go on and be where I am today without a mentor such as Tim. I kind of equate him. I'll throw a sports metaphor out there if it resonates, but he's like the Bill Belichick of training and development. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all times. Not that I like the Patriots, but he's the greatest coach of all times. And most people that are in Bill Belichick's orbit go on to do incredible things. And so that's how I equate Tim, and lots of people that have worked with Grand Dynamics and Tim have gone on to do great things. So just a shout out back to Tim, and thank you for putting this all together in this really interesting time that we're all dealing with. We have to work together to come up with interesting solutions. So thanks so much, Tim, for doing that. So yes, my name is Matt Campana. And so I have can everyone see my PowerPoint there? John, is my PowerPoint up?
No, you need to share it.
You got to finish by hitting the green tab down at the bottom.
Screen share.
There it is.
There it is. Okay, great. Yeah, so when Tim mentioned I had to move back to Ohio, family illness brought me back to Ohio. And with Grand Dynamics, we did great programs all over the place. Personal and professional transformations always took place. I noticed in the events that oftentimes the communities where the events were taking place, there was no long-term positive impact. So when I started my own thing in 2008, I wanted to create a platform to give back through meetings and events and retreats and things like that. And so, as Tim mentioned, that's been my passion. I've continued to partner with Grand Dynamics on a lot of events, and I've created a lot of different give back events since 2008. About 4.5 years ago, I wanted to create a medical-based activity. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted some kind of medical device or something. I was doing research online, and I came across a video of a 3D printed hand. And I couldn't believe it to learn that we could now print appendages for people. It it blew me away, right? So I reached out to the person that posted the video. I acquired the first prosthetic device, took it apart, put it back together, took it apart, put it back together, and just really kind of learned if it would be something that could be a program. And through trial and error and lots of work, created a program around that activity that has become more inspiring than I could have even have imagined 4.5 years ago. So since I started the program, we've done hundreds of events and have donated thousands, over 3,000 devices around the world. And it's just become kind of a thing that I'm holding. I'm just holding on to the reins, So it's been a great program, and it's being used a lot of different creative ways. It's very customizable. So what I thought I would do today, you'll see on the screen there, welcome SurveyMonkey, week of service. SurveyMonkey is a really good client of mine, and I actually have a live virtual event with them here in a couple days. So I thought I'd just go ahead and use that presentation. So it's a real presentation. I welcome any questions in the chat throughout, and we'll moderate. We'll also answer questions at the end. But the intent here is to go through this presentation. You'll get a really good understanding of what Hands of Gratitude is and how you might be able to apply it into your needs. So, so inspired by everybody being here, and we can work together on this. So that's kind of a little bit of background of Hands of Gratitude. SurveyMonkey is the client, and they're using it in a really couple creative ways. So they're using Hands of Gratitude in 2 ways. One, as new hire onboarding. So anytime they get a group of new hires, they use Hands of Gratitude to show their commitment to culture and giving back. So we did 8 programs with them last year. We were going to do 16 this year. Some of those were postponed. Some of them have gone virtual. I've actually been fairly pleased at how Hands of Gratitude has translated to the virtual world. Like many of you, I had no idea what was going to happen. So pushing forward, I am pretty pleased in how it has translated. So they use it as onboarding. And then secondly, they use it to introduce or raise awareness and raise funds for other nonprofits and different causes in all the different communities where they have offices. So they invite people from those different nonprofits in to participate alongside the corporate groups, building hands with Hands of Gratitude. A portion of the proceeds go back to those nonprofits. So that's been pretty inspiring and a creative way to raise funds. And again, we're happy to answer more questions about how that might look at the end. So that's a little breakthrough. I'll go through this PowerPoint. John and Tim, if you have anything to add throughout, just go ahead and speak up. So it's one thing to say that we're going to build a bunch of hands and send them around the world. It's actually a whole different thing to actually do that. So we've worked really hard to create partnerships around the world with people that are helping us to find recipients that are in need. Guala is our partner in Central America. They're in Honduras, servicing all of Central America. And they are just an energetic group of electrical engineers and physical therapists and educators who just want to do good in their communities. And so a really inspiring team of folks that help us find recipients. And we've had some amazing times down there in Honduras and Central America. Josteen is centered there in the middle, and you'll learn more about him in just a second. The Association of Indian Physicians of the Northeast is a group of about 300 Indian doctors who, like Guala, want to do the same. They want to do the same thing in their homeland of India. So they actually put on medical clinics. They do it twice a year, free medical clinics. The last one was just before the shutdown in February. They saw 6,000 people over the course of 3 days, free clinics, people that don't have access to proper medical care. About 170, I think, people were identified as needing prosthetic devices. So we're waiting for things to lift so we can work with them to reconnect with those recipients and get them their devices. So they do those clinics twice a year, and they see over 12,000 people twice a year. It's pretty astounding what they do. One World Surgery is a group of about 2,500 surgeons that they do pro bono work, largely in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, but other places as well. And their way of giving back is to do free surgery. And same thing, if they come across someone that's in need of a prosthetic device that can't go the traditional route, then they reach out to us and we provide them with free donated prosthetic hands.
I have a question, just a quick question. For anyone that's listening, does anyone out there have an experience with someone who has lost a limb or been impacted or know someone? Because the amount of people that have that are being served is just astronomical. Maybe like put in the chat room, yes, or do you know someone? You can raise your hand so we can get an idea, but we're always curious to find out, how people are being impacted directly. I mean, I lost part of my thumb. That's a different story, different story. But anyway, we'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, I would say 80% of the events, we have people come up and say, I have a cousin, I have a nephew, I have somebody close to them that lost a limb. And oftentimes we provide them with it on the spot. I mean, it's crazy. So the last partner that I'll talk about here is the Enable community. And we work with them a couple different ways. They're a network of about 7,000 volunteers who have access to 3D printers. So we use them on the front end as a printing source. And how that works is I buy all the components that comes to me just in pieces and parts in bags, things like that. We break it all down, organize it, put it in color-coded bags. And then from there it goes into a kit, allowing participants to assemble the device in about an hour and a half. So we've narrowed that down to partners that we know we're going to get good quality plastics and good materials and things from. And then on the back side, there are some power chapters of Enable that help us find recipients. We did a program in Dublin, Ireland. The client wanted to, if at all possible, find a recipient in Ireland. I reached out to the Enable network there in Ireland, and they found a little boy, Connor, in Donleary, Ireland, and we were able to get him a device through that program. So they're a wonderful, wonderful partner. And again, we've sourced about 3,000 hands over the course of the last 4 years. Pretty amazing. When I was doing research, I didn't know anybody that had a prosthetic or had lost a limb. And one of my questions was, is this a sustainable program? And sadly, I learned that it is. The need globally is pretty astounding. We all know about things like diabetes and trauma and cancer. Certainly those know no boundaries. So roughly 2 million amputations in the United States. If anyone has been to Central America or any developing country, you quickly learn the culture there is quite different and the infrastructure is quite different. Accidents happen all day, every day. On Honduras, intermittent traffic lights and no highway patrol type of situation. So there are accidents that happen all day. In fact, in Central America, electrical accidents are the #1 cause for limb loss. Landmines, we're certainly blessed that we live in an area where there's no landmines. 60 plus countries can't say that. Some of our devices have gone to like Cambodia, where agriculture is the #1 industry, and you have to plow a field, but you also know that could be landmines there. So anyway, roughly 300,000 landmine related amputations every year. Birth defects, amniotic band syndrome is one such birth defect where the amniotic band in womb development wraps around the outer extremities, limiting growth. So the devices that we make are a good solution for that. In the United States and around the world. $3,000 to $10,000 is the cost for an entry-level prosthetic device. If you're living on $1 a day in developing countries, it's out of the question. Even in the United States, if you're lucky to have good insurance, you will get one prosthetic device, but it won't cover replacement parts and it won't cover subsequent devices if you're a child that's growing, you get one device. So this new technology, the 3D printing technology, is making devices available to people that ordinarily would not have been able to get them. So again, just pretty amazing technology. It's changing the stigma associated with limb loss as well. So kind of circling back to the gratitude piece, we had a chance on the front end of the Mentimeter to enter something. What I'd like you to do right now with your non-dominant left hand, right hand, whatever is your non-dominant hand, only one hand, type into the chat something that you're grateful for. Real quickly do that into the chat using your non-dominant hand. And then also these other things that are on the screen as we go through today and as you go through the rest of your day, try to think about what gratitude means for you. Try to think of some things that you're grateful for and try to think of how it can impact your daily life. I know I wake up every morning when one foot hits the floor, it's thank. The other foot hits the floor, it's you. So it's thank you every morning when my 2 feet hit the floor. Because just the fact that we're here and up and together is something to be grateful for. So that's a good little exercise to develop empathy too. Sometimes in our programs, we'll tell people to go ahead and try to tie your shoe with one hand. It's not so easy. I'm going to go through some of our recent recipients that we've been able to work with and have been humbled by. On the screen here is Fabian. He just turned 6 actually, missing limb due to a birth defect. Just a little pistol of a little boy in Honduras. We met with him and his family. That's Fabian sitting on his mom's lap there. It was a highly emotional day. This was them learning about the program. We took measurements. He was so small, we needed to customize a device for Fabian. But they never anticipated that they would be receiving a limb. And so when they did, it really changed everything. He went from being fairly shy to having a posse of kids that follow him around now that have nicknamed him the Hulk. We have since sent him a green one, and he keeps both of them in a little treasure chest right by his bed, so he knows where they are every day. And it's just been life-changing for Fabian. So just a wonderful kid. Juan David is another story. His job was to reclaim poached electricity. So not risky at all, right? I mentioned the electrical grid. So he would climb poles and reroute wires to their rightful owners. And so he lost both limbs, one below the shoulder and one below the elbow. He found therapy through gardening. And so when we got him his prosthetic, he was able to open up a little garden shop. That has since expanded. He now employs his family and extended family and is just an inspiration to the entire community. His little daughter Maya, she just wanted to hold Daddy's hand again. And that smile never left his face. Just an incredibly inspiring gentleman is Juan David. Christian, similar story. He a welding accident, lost one arm below the shoulder, one arm below the elbow. When we got him his prosthetic, he was able to open up a little shoe shop where his little brother now works for him. And I just filmed him on my phone using his prosthetic. And you can see that he just is able to get the shoes off the rack. He's able to ring up his customers. And he's just so proud. It's just, he's able to do something he couldn't do before. So, and Christian is now an ambassador. We send him devices and he'll distribute them around his community, which is near Copan in Honduras. So that's Christian. Little Justine, he tragically lost his hand at his father's workplace. The father was fired for negligence and hospitalized for depression. As you can imagine, the guilt. when we got Justine his new hand, it was just a moment of healing for the entire family. You could just tell things were going to be okay. The picture on the left there is Justine reading the note cards that's a part of the program, writing notes, and it matters. It really matters. He spent a good half hour reading these note cards prior to even trying on his new prosthetic. So just understanding that people thousands of miles away could possibly care is an amazing emotional thing for these recipients. Jennifer was in a car accident and lost a hand. She decided after she was in a car accident that she wanted to become a nurse. So I thought that was pretty inspiring that she took a tragedy and spun that around to wanting to help as many people as she can. And so this is a video of her 5 minutes after she took it out of the bag, because these devices require no surgery. It's all muscle driven. So she was able to put it right on. Even brushing the hair out the side of her face. You know. That was about a 35-pound backpack that she's able to immediately pick up. So smiles all around with Jennifer. These are some of SurveyMonkey's recent recipients from just earlier the year. Oftentimes what we'll do is we'll send devices to schools in developing countries so the kids can learn about the technology and also distribute them in their communities. And so we sent them to a school, and lo and behold, Roddy was there and needed a device. So Roddy was at the school, got a device, and the kids all learned about a new technology and are celebrating that. These are just a few more. David, Elena, and Sue, new recipients. Just a couple more here. This is Grace. I met Grace at an event at a camp, and I didn't know she was going to be there. And Grace has a deformed hand, and she had never before this moment shared anything about her deformity. And it was just a hugely emotional moment for Grace to stand up. And this was filmed by one of her co-campers, kind of from under the table, and it's a little awkward, but you'll kind of get the point. This is what Grace had to say.
You got to turn up your computer audio, Matt. Can't hear the computer audio.
You can't hear that?
Now we can. I want to redo it.
You mean redo it?
Well, I couldn't hear it before. I still can't hear it. Can you chat into the room if you can hear the audio? I can't. No one can hear the audio.
Hey, Matt, recheck, check on your share. Click on the share screen again and see if you have that share computer audio clicked.
Okay, let me try again here.
Today, from class to class, from
there it is.
Your coffee cups, your everything, and dropping them because you only have one hand. These are all things that I've had to grow up with, and everything because I only have one hand. And it really makes my heart happy to know that people like you guys are caring for others with disabilities, because I've never been treated in such a kind way as today. And it makes me so happy to see that people actually do care about others with disabilities. Thank you.
So that was Grace, and she says it better than anybody, than I could. You know, that was just such a pivotal moment for her, and she carries herself so differently now. So that was that video, the first time that she ever got in front of anyone, and now she's telling that story, and it just transformed her as a person. So SurveyMonkey actually built one for her, and she had these words to say back to SurveyMonkey.
Hi, Matt here, Hands of Gratitude, and we are at the lovely Slippery Rock University with the awesome Grace, who is the recipient of our latest Hands of Gratitude hand. And we're just so honored and grateful and inspired to be here and stoked to get to spend a little time with Grace. And we're happy to be here. So here's Grace.
Thank you so much, SurveyMonkey, for your contributions to Hands of Gratitude. It not only helps me be able to get another hand, but also the kids who cannot afford other hands. It makes them feel like they're accepted and they're one of the others. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It really means the world to me. Thank you.
John?
So that's Grace. And what's kind of cool about these Zoom things is several of our recipients in the past have popped into these Zoom events and have been able to participate when otherwise they might not have been able to travel to the location and things. So that's kind of been a nice little byproduct of these Zoom programs, is incorporating some past recipients.
So, hey, Matt, just to interject here. I want to make sure that we have time for the Q&A here. So just like in the next minute or two, can you just explain how the program works, and then make sure we open it up for Q&A. So for anyone else out there, get your questions ready and comments so we can have the last 10 minutes to share. So Matt, 1 or 2 minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, this Annalena is a different recipient that came into SurveyMonkey last time. She came in there live and received her device and then went home. Another one over the summer, this is little Maddie, who received hers as well. So these are next up recipients for SurveyMonkey's program for this week. So they'll learn about them. We try to get profiles for as many people as we can coming up. So every event has actual live recipients. So how the program works, a couple different ways. I mean, actually live events are one thing, but for the Zoom virtual events, we've been shipping the kits. So we ship the kits, which comes with everything that you need to build the hand inside the kit. If you're going to participate live, we try to do it in about 2 hours. So the presentation, and then we can have breakout rooms. We can have a troubleshoot breakout room for anyone that needs support. But it can be done all via Zoom, or if you want to participate but can't make the Zoom time frame, then we can pre-record a presentation and you can do the assembly on your own time and reach out to us via text for any tech support that you might need. There are actually 4 components to the program. There's building the device, writing the note card that will go to a recipient, designing the bag that the hand will go in creative fashion, and then recording a video that could be an introduction to the recipient that we like to share with the families. We can be really, really creative with those videos as well. Sometimes there are video competitions amongst teams and things like that. So we can get really creative with the video piece and with all of the assembly. Actually, here's the finished hand that's actually done, and so an amazing thing. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Tim, because we want to offer this opportunity to everyone that's on the call as well. So thank you so much. I'm sorry if I went long at all, but I get going and I can't stop. So, thanks so much, and I'll answer any questions. Really appreciate you guys being here.
Awesome, cool. Well, let's give a nice wave for Campana. John, let's show the gallery, and so we can see each other, if you would. And so if you would just type in one word that's coming to mind after seeing Matt's presentation. We'd love to just kind of get your immediate sort of emotional response to Matt's presentation. It's something that every time I see it and every time we deliver this event, it's so amazing for people. And again, we've been using this event with corporate groups as a team building event. We can incorporate it into like Amazing Race style event. You can incorporate a virtual event into a scavenger hunt type experience where they have to solve challenges, where that leads to more information to build the hands. People can receive the kit in advance. Obviously, we can feature live guests and things like that. And as Matt said, we decided, you know what, we just want to provide an opportunity for anyone to experience the Hands of Gratitude. So we're just going to make it a program that's available the week of Thanksgiving. We've decided it's going to be on November 23rd. So Thanksgiving week, if you want to receive a kit to your hand and build it together with your family or virtually with some other group of people that you want to align in, then you'll be able to do that. We'll send the details. It's going to be somewhere around $250 to participate, which will give you the experience of the whole thing, as many people as you want as your team, your specific hand, which will pay for the shipping to you and the shipping back and the shipping to the recipients. So we're basically trying to make just as inexpensive as possible to experience the power of the program. But obviously, if you're interested in collaborating on using this program for a fundraiser for your organization, that's where we're here. So.
And it's an incredible thing to do with your family around Thanksgiving and the holidays. It's an incredible thing to do with your family, kids, cousins, grandparents, whatever. It's just a beautiful thing to accomplish with them.
Yeah, and if you have an organization you want to send bulk, hands out and just be part of the open enrollment event for Thanksgiving week, you can contact us and we can ship them out to your team. If you want to have a private event, you can certainly obviously do that. It's the big part of what we're offering here. We do have a few questions, and if we'll just open up for comments in the last several minutes we have here. But one question is, how do you follow up with recipients? So real quick, Matt, on how obviously how do you connect with the people that have received the hands, or how do you get that feedback?
Yeah, that's great, and that's a great question, and it's good in a couple different ways. The supporting partners like Guala, what's great is if something should happen to the hand, if they should break a part or a piece, they don't have to come back to me. They can go to Guala or one of our partners, and then we can just simply print them or have printed for them a new piece or whatever. But most of the follow-up is done through our supporting partners, but also social media. I mean, I stay in touch with a lot of the parents through social media all the time, and they're constantly updating me with stories and what happened, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Nice. Next question. What equipment do you need to build the hand? How complex is it?
Yeah, really anything that you'll have at home. I mean, scissors, needle nose pliers, screwdriver, that's about it. It's really, the instructions are on the Hands of Gratitude website. They're digital instructions and are pretty thorough. We've written about 15 versions. They're getting better and better. So really you find most everything at home. And we would supply what you would need prior to you receiving the hand as well.
Awesome. One question, will we get a copy of the top 10 list? And yes, absolutely. Thanks for asking. Yeah, we'll follow up with John, you could probably type the top 10 list into the actual chat, but we'll have the recording available too. And again, if anyone has a question, you want to email me, tim@GrandDynamics or info@granddynamics.com. That I can respond with, the top 10 list, or if you have a specific question, or you want to follow up something, have a follow-up conversation. And again, we're going to hang out once we officially end the event, and you're here in a few minutes, answer all your questions and talk about specific cases that you might be interested in. Does your organization, do you organize events that involve legs, feet, or other body parts?
Great question. Anything that's weight bearing is a whole different ball game, and not as simple as a hand might be. So I have no doubt that that'll be coming down the pike, certainly. So, and I should comment really, the functionality is one thing, but the emotional side of things is as equally as important. And Grace would certainly testify to that. So just the fact that they're being recognized and acknowledged and made to feel whole and accepted, and the inclusion and all that stuff is amazing. But legs will happen, I'm sure.
How many, is there like a minimum or a maximum number of participants for the programs, and what's a good size for people building the hands together?
A team of 3 we've identified is pretty perfect. Especially, live events is different. As small as 8 and as big as 1,800 is what we've done. for live events. We have a 200-person virtual event coming up. Teams of 2 to 3 is a good way to go. No less than 2, no more than 4.
Awesome. Great. And, with that, we got a couple minutes, and I would just like to open it up to whoever's in the gallery here, just to share a comment, or, you can ask a question, but if anyone would like to share comments, then you can certainly do that. We'd love to hear your thoughts, or just, about the program, or about any other questions about charity events. Hopefully this has been helpful to everyone as you're considering creative ways to create your new virtual events. Again, creativity is king, and there's so many different ways to create engaging experiences for people. And we have a great team of Granite staff that really kind of dives into looking at the outcome of your event. How can we help you produce it? And it can be as little as, okay, giving you advice on how to do it yourself, to taking the reins and producing the event, to full-blown productions and creating these all sorts of different experiences with entertainers, to gaming, to the Hands of Gratitude, to give back events. And we do have other give back events as well too. So, but we wanted to feature this one specifically, so you got a real good understanding of how something like this works. So would anyone like to share a comment or a question from the gallery? Just raise your hand, and then we'll let you speak. We'd love to hear a couple thoughts, or just a little bit of feedback, or what you're thinking about the program. Anyone out there?
So got a question. Can this be done with just the person and their spouse, their partner, or does this need to be done through a work thing?
No, absolutely can be private. We do a lot of private groups. We work with schools. There's no limit to who can participate. Absolutely.
And I'll just say this too, so we're going to be having this event on November 23rd, Thanksgiving week. You can do that with just your husband or partner in your at home together. And if you can't do it on that day, that Thanksgiving week or whatever, you can do it at any time. So you can order the kit, and it can come to you, and you can participate and do that on your own time, and then send it back to Matt. So
what you're saying, Tim, is you can do this with your family.
Yeah, you can do it.
And what day would they do this on?
You could try to do it with your dog, but that might be a little bit challenging.
Opposable digits, that's tough.
Yeah, opposable thumbs, So it's in November. Our event that we're going to host, where everyone can come back and we can actually share in the experience of Thanksgiving, is going to be November 23rd, Thanksgiving week, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Yeah. But you can sign up and have the kit shipped to you whenever, So we haven't opened the registration. We just actually decided this yesterday. We're like, we should just make it available to everyone to experience. So why not? It's Thanksgiving, right? Let's create some hands for people.
So as we were talking about this, what struck me is that what Matt did was take the top 10 list and basically take it to heart and say, let's not talk about what has been done. Let's talk about what we can do in a virtual context. And I love that, because it's not this starting from hopelessness of, oh, we just got to give up or do something less than good. He said, we got a great thing here that we need to keep going, and let's figure out how to do it virtually.
Absolutely. Brandon, do you have a question?
I just wanted to make a comment because I've been fortunate enough to be able to attend 2 Hands of Gratitude events, and just want to really speak to the power of them, to the impact that it has on the people. The people obviously assembling the hands, because we didn't see the people who were receiving them, but you do see the videos, and it is this just really powerful event. It's in a way, it's very brief. It's a couple-hour event, but I think it really makes a powerful impact on both the process of people working together and the whole team building aspect, but then also this going beyond themselves and beyond their company and beyond their goals in terms of maybe personal goals, and just like, wow, we're doing something to benefit others in a powerful way. Wow, this person doesn't have a hand, and they're going to get a hand that I'm going to build. There's not much in my mind that's Sorry, I think I dropped out for a second.
That's okay. Yeah,
I
no,
was gonna
Brandon,
say,
that's a
thinking more
great,
powerful than that. So thank you, Matt.
thanks for bringing that up, Brandon. That's such a great point. And every program that we've done, participants have been in tears at times because of a personal experience that they had that is almost a breakthrough for them, whether it's raising a child with a cleft palate or whether it's some kind of challenge that they've overcome that puts all this in perspective for them. So absolutely, it's emotional for the participants as well. Thanks for that.
Well, and I'd just like to reinforce that whole idea. I mean, a big part of what Grain Dynamics has done for the last 23 years is bring people together so that we can support each other and we can work together to make a more positive impact with, ourselves, our families, our business. And, this is a great example of how we can do that. But we can all relate to overcoming obstacles. I mean, how many people out there have their own obstacles that they're overcoming, right? We all do. And so this is just another way of channeling our energy in a way that can kind of align around, a particular mission. But, just overcoming obstacles is one of the things that we all have in common. So, just again, as we're getting close, we're a little bit over their event time, and we're going to keep hanging out. But I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and remind you that if you have any questions or you want to have a follow-up conversation, schedule a call with Matt or ourselves or our team. And whether it's this event or whatever event that you want to create, happy to have a discussion with you about your project and how we can assist you, just give you some advice, whatever it is. So that is our charity fundraising and give back events, our spotlight series. And don't forget, Thursday, we're going to be featuring our adventure spotlight, and that's going to really all be about overcoming our own obstacles and using the concept of adventure, not just the extreme bungee jumping and things that most of us can't do, but the idea of what happens when you're at the end of your rope and you don't know if you can continue, and how do you navigate uncertainty, and how do we live together in our current times of adventure in the pandemic or whatever else. So we're rallying people around that concept and using some fascinating people to help us do it. So we really hope you join us on Thursday for our final spotlight series of this month, and keep things rolling into the new year.